booties for black girl nerds.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate it. This was particularly endearing to me. My family's from Louisiana, down in the parishes. My parents are from St. Charles Parish, down in Booty and Ava, and out in those little towns. So I love the double entendre with the name, with the show, and your dual role as the lead and the executive producer. So, in a day of getting this show accomplished, where does Mr. Esposito end and where does Gray Parish begin?
Wow, what a great question. So first of all, welcome from and to all of your folks from Louisiana. I just adored being in NOLA and being able to be exposed to all the different parishes and their cultures and Black Indians and all of that goes along with this very rich environment. This story is very personal to me in many ways. It's about a man who's broken, who is failing in his life, who's lost the connection to his family, who's mourning the loss of a son and can't seem to find solace. He is financially broke and losing his business, and he's desperate. And so I know those feelings from my own life. And some of that particular storyline was drawn upon from my experience of how do you dig out? How do you get back? How do you reconnect with your family in a way that's meaningful? And so Gracie and Parish is trying to find all of those things. But what's haunting him the most is the loss of his son and the moments that the final moments he had with his son that were contentious. And that's the memory he's left with. So he's trying to solve the murder of his son and trying to solve his own deep depression.
Mhm. As I connected with Parrish, and he made me think of your embodiment of him, made me think of so many men in my family who are from that region, who are deeply connected to their families and their children, but still struggling to outrun something that may have happened to them in the earlier parts of their life before they had all of these obligations. Is that a fair assessment of who he is, outrunning those things as he battles
My
the depression,
goodness,
as you
you're
mentioned?
so astute. Yes, we come to find out in our story that Gracie and Parish has a past that he hasn't requited, he hasn't faced, and he's kept it a secret. So he's been hiding something, and he tried his best to outrun that past. And in this moment in time where he's so down in his luck, he meets an old friend who comes out of prison and alludes to the fact that I was there because of you, and so you get these little clues that start to happen, and he feels like he's left that life behind. He's invited to drive for someone who he is in the beginning thinks the guy is legitimate in the horse, and then he realizes very quickly that the guy is a monster. And how do you get back out when he's able to start providing for his family in a little bit and maybe the possibility of saving his business? And then the clue comes that it's connected somehow. This man's connected to and knows something about his son's murder. We in our lives, and New Orleans is a place that to me is filled with ghosts, and the ghosts sometimes exist within us. So for me, my ghost is me not being able to talk about my past, and I gave that gift to Gracian. Shame, the shame that binds us to not being able to say this is who I was, and I'm not that anymore because I don't know if I'm still that or not. It's not until we can deal with those ghosts and go, that was me, this is the new me, and be very clear about having compassion and love for ourselves that we can move on. That's not Gratian's journey right now. Hopefully in season 4 or 5, he'll start to come back to life. Part of our theme is, am I a good man? You know,
Mhm.
I've done some things that I can't talk about, and those things are qualified as being bad or nefarious in certain characters I play, not in Gracian. He's a good man inside, I believe, but he has to go down a dark road to find it again.
Mhm.
And so for me, that's the truth of the everyman whose dreams weren't fulfilled, the everyman who tried but didn't make it, the everyman who says, you know, they didn't let me, they wouldn't allow it, as opposed to taking responsibility and finding the strength to go, I can change this. And then that everyman walks the same path and looks down at his feet and is beaten. And I looked in the mirror this morning and I said, don't let it conquer you. I had a challenge, and I said, it won't conquer you. It was a small little thing, but I realized, oh my goodness, this is where Gracie's at. He finally is able to utter the words. And when we can speak it, we can see it, we can feel it, we can envision it, the new path, he utters the words, I'm tired of being a passenger in my own life. And then it starts to change. He's got to go back into the darkness to come to the light. But this story of an everyman I wanted to tell because I play extraordinary characters. I play extraordinary, nefarious bad guys, villains. I play some anti-heroes who are just fallen heroes who no one would listen to, and they think they have a better idea and they force you to listen to them. So these characters are larger than life. Gracie and Parish is in life. And I wanted to tell this story reflective of all those who are in their lives and they're in that depressed point where they want better, but they don't know how. They don't know where to look. They don't know who to help them. They don't know how to talk about it. They're being crushed by their own anxiety within. And I wanted this character to be an example of someone who can find their way. Sister Anne offers hope in our story, someone to talk to, someone he can be honest with. Michaela, his daughter, offers hope. You always ignored me because your son was the favorite. The boy was the favorite. Now I'm here. See me, see me, see me, see me. Equally so, Gracie in Parish wants to be seen, but he doesn't know how to see himself yet.
I love your embodiment of him with so much like class and dignity, even as he navigates this path with him. And his name is Gracie, and he's looking for grace. But something I heard recently, I read something that said people believe that there's a very thin New Orleans is one of those places that's a very thin veil between the spiritual and the mortal. And you mentioned at the top of our conversation about spending time and learning about the cultures and how did you enjoy New Orleans the city as even going through filming all this and being part of that culture?
I love New Orleans. It's ghosted. And if you have ghosts and you're in a ghosted city, they're calling you. You can do anything there. You can drink till 4 a.m. You can party. It's a port city. It's one of the reasons why we placed it there. Everything that is tempting that some of us may have had a relationship to or there. So that comes down to it's a place where you can kill your pain easily and just have fun. And I love that about the city. But I also love that it forces you to look at yourself because it has beautiful art and culture scene, a beautiful the food in New Orleans is off the chain. The gastronomy there is evolving so that it's encompassing the indigenous food, but it's also allowing for really great chefs to enjoy and do some of their best work and have a great clientele. It is a very thin veil between the rich and the poor in New Orleans, which is unbelievable. What other city can you be in and see parades almost every day? And in the African American community there, you see horses. You see Black people on horses, trained riders in their parades. It's such animals in the street. We're a part of that. They shouldn't be distant from us. They treat them well and they march on horseback. So to me, the cultural, navigating that city culturally was a great part of our story so that we could feel the essence of who we are as human beings, not just African American people, but white folks and Caucasian people as well. And a city that has an equal amount of ghosts, and as I say, the darkness is there if you choose it, but it has an equal amount of churches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did a church tour in New Orleans that was off the chain. I went, my gosh, there's all this worship of the divine there, of the God and the goddess. And so I wound up going back to church every single Sunday and honoring that essence and spiritual essence inside of me. And so I love your city. I have to say, it's now partly my city, and it lent so much to the story of the Parish family and Gracie and Parish's journey.
Wow. I am going to wrap there. I really love the series. I went all the way through. I binged the whole thing in one setting and deeply enjoyed it. I love any time I can see any type of spotlight on New Orleans and Louisiana as a whole. And as usual, your performance was fantastic. I knew there would be nothing less. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Have a marvelous, marvelous season. It's a terrific show.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.